I started programming at the age of 10 on the Sinclair Spectrum in BASIC. So I always knew that technology and computer science would play a role in my career. When I graduated from Brown in the early 90s, there was a tremendous demand for engineers. But interestingly enough, I found the finance firms more innovative than the tech firms at the time. There were examples of the finance firms really pushing the envelope with technology. And so I was really attracted to going to sort of the more smaller boutique firms that were using technology in very innovative ways. In school and college, I had two core interests. One was obviously computer science, which I'd been involved in from a very early age. The other was theatre. And the theatre training gave me a sense of empathy, which worked really well as a programmer because it really sort of forced me to take the time to understand the human side of the problems that we were using technology to solve. And that combination ended up really defining how I built my career. When AQR brought me in, they had gone through a major growth period over the previous 5 to 7 years, one that actually continues now as well. And so from a technology standpoint, a lot of what we had done at the time was very focused on delivering time to market. So we were optimizing how we did things to deliver quickly to support a growing business. I got the opportunity to take a step back and to really look at what we'd done over the last decade or so, to look at what parts of our infrastructure may not scale in the future, and to give my assessment around that and work with our executive committee on, prioritizing the things that we wanted to get done going forward. So it was a real blessing to be able to take that step back, and we've put a really interesting and aggressive plan in place as a result of that. The initial transition to becoming a manager was interesting. Most managers in technology end up being a player coach, so you still get a reasonable amount of being hands-on. And that's actually one of the things at AQR that we're really biased towards. We like hands-on folks at all levels of the organization. Obviously, as an organization grows, you do eventually take that step back and you're not as hands-on as perhaps you once were. I stay hands-on by still remaining close to, smaller skunk work type projects. So while I clearly can't insert myself as a contributor in a larger scale project, there's always small experimental projects taking place in the margins, and those are good areas for people like myself to stay relatively hands-on. One of the things that I find unique about working at AQR is the level of transparency. We write academic papers that we publish and make available to everybody that describe the strategies that we run. We've open sourced the data that we use to backtest them, also available on our website for everyone to use. And that transparency translates into technology as well. A great example is we open source Pandas, which is a Python library. We did this about 8 years ago now, very heavily used in the quant community and even more broadly. And so the idea of transparency translates very nicely into the technology realm as well. I absolutely do think about an end state when it comes to our technology roadmap. Time frame is roughly 3 to 5 years. One phrase I use to describe the end state is the target state architecture. Sometimes target state architectures can be aspirational in nature. You may never actually accomplish everything in there, but to have a barometer so that every piece of work that you do, you're able to measure it against that target state is immensely important in a technology strategy.